What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. This is just a little update video about some really cool stuff that happened yesterday. The Russo Brothers were pressed about whether or not the characters from the Marvel's Netflix series were going to show up in Infinity War. They basically gave an ambiguous answer that says they are looking into it, they really want to try it, and they want to blow people away and give all of the fans a big surprise. Now, I've talked to a number of different people about this. There are some people that just say that it's impossible because of the bad blood between Ike Perlmutter and Kevin Feige. But guys, I just want to alleviate some of that worry and give you a little bit of hope for a couple of different reasons. First of all, this is the team that bridged the gap between Sony and Marvel Studios. We literally have Spider-Man now running around with the Avengers. 5 years ago, that would have been impossible. 3 years ago, that would have been impossible. So don't tell me that these guys are not capable of it. Also, this does not mean that Matt Murdock has to be there. This does not mean that Charlie Cox even has to be in the movie. It could be possible, and this is something that happens in comics all the time, that let's say Thanos does something ridiculous or brings down an armada of ships or something. We could just see from different vantage points in New York, these heroes, maybe Daredevil's beating somebody up and then something happens in the sky and he literally just looks up and turns. Or, Luke Cage and Danny Rand are tracking down some bad guys and then something really big in the sky happens and they just look up, right? I mean, there are ways to do this that might not even involve those actors or, that could just have them in for literally a couple seconds. So, I mean, I think that's a big payoff. I think that would be awesome. Joe Quesada talks a lot about how he made a deal with Greg Cox, I believe, the guy that plays Agent Coulson, that he made a deal with Greg that he would try to bring him in to the Netflix series. So he's really constantly trying to do that. It's all contractual, right? It all has to do with contracts and, who's getting paid for what. I think one of the big things about the Russo brothers, basically why I have a ton of faith in this being possible, is because they don't, the way that they work mentally, they don't see the obstacles. They see the solution. They see what they want and they just forge a way to it. So when they say 76 characters and they want to basically bring the entire Marvel universe into whatever's happening in Infinity War, why wouldn't you bring the Netflix characters in? I think these comments speak to that fact. Some people say, they're just giving this wishy-washy answer. No, they would either say no or, they would give this kind of an answer, something that they're trying to work on. Now, 2 films are being shot in Atlanta right now, Spider-Man Homecoming and Marvel's Infinity War. They are working on these films in Atlanta right now. There was this crazy photo going around of basically the Illuminati of Marvel Studios having a big meeting. Man, would I love to be a fly on that wall. But I think that heading towards phase 4, there's going to be a lot of big things happening. They want to blow people away. And, in the back of my mind, and I always talk about this stuff, and I apologize to beat this horse to death that's already dead, but I really want to see them bring the X-Men into this universe and the Fantastic Four. So, I mean, if they're working on those deals in the capacity that I think they're actually working on those deals, you could see cameos of even these characters brought in. I mean, how dope would it be to see the Fantastic Four in Infinity War? I mean, they're trying to do something unprecedented. They're going to swing for the fences. That's just what's in these guys' DNA, and we are rewarded ultimately as fans. Now, I don't want to get your hopes up too much because there's a lot that needs to be ironed out, but just today, somebody commented on one of my videos. It was the Legion video. His name is Josie Fruntes, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, brother, but he literally brought to my attention on one of my videos that recently the Marvel's Legends toys have started to make Fantastic Four and X-Men characters once again. This is after a long hiatus. When they were beefing with Fox, they stopped making merchandise for those properties. It's been a big friggin' deal. This guy he's a huge collector, and he's telling me about how Hasbro has started to do this again, and it's a sign. Just read the tea leaves, guys. So not only do I think we're gonna get the Netflix characters, but I think we're getting Fantastic Four and X-Men in Infinity War. I think it's going to be a culmination. Like, if you're Marvel, and I've said this so many times in so many different ways, what else could rejuvenate and just expand this craziness that, is this bubble that everyone's expecting to burst, but bringing in these other properties? So that's the basic news out there. The Russo brothers hinting at the possibility of the Netflix characters being a part of Infinity War. You let me know. I'll put the article, I'll put a link to one of the articles in the description below. You let me know. What do you read into that? You know what I mean? What do you think? Or what are you hopeful for? Always willing and hopeful to start a conversation in the comments. All right, guys, let's check that nerd card. The question is going to be about Infinity War, or the Infinity Gauntlet series from back in the day. Thanos, with the use of the Infinity Gauntlet, wreaks all sorts of havoc on the Marvel Universe. He actually ends up becoming an entity of the galaxy and literally decides he doesn't even need his body anymore. He becomes eternity and he doesn't even need his body anymore, so he leaves his body. There is a character that goes over to his body, takes the gauntlet from it, and basically undoes all of the damage that he did. This character exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. We have seen this character in one of the movies. The question is, what character is it? What is the character that undoes all of the damage that Thanos did with the gauntlet at the end of the Infinity Gauntlet series? Such a great run. Check that out if you haven't, by the way. Now, as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!